So do we have another bull trap here, or is there a tradable low in place on the markets? Let's get into it with our Friday SPY analysis. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. We continue averaging those 200 likes. I'll do another giveaway. Next month we'll keep doing stuff like that. Just like we talked about in the stream. By the way, Chuck Long 66, you're now on the clock as your runner up for the month of active traders. So you got 2 days to get to me. After that, Steve-O, it's all you. So anyway, let's get into it here today. Markets here with a good gain, up 2% on the spiders. Qs up 2.42, Dow up 1.6, and then the Russell here up 2.42 as well. Is this just another bull trap here? Well, let's see. On the last 2 Fridays, I mean, they did the same exact thing, right? Gap down, swept the low, and then we rallied up. And we were looking for some sort of a, kind of relief here, and then a rollover after that. We got it in one day, but I thought it would have lasted at least 3 days. And I'm actually going to be doing a video on this about the historical significance of this sell-off here, and I'll piece that together here in a week or two. So stay tuned for that, because I think it's something that everybody can learn from. But following Friday, gap down here, slice the 200, close above it. So okay, well maybe now we'll get a relief rally, and then we'll see, maybe we go down. Nope, we gap down Monday, right? So just pretty much a straight, bloodbath here. Look how they just cheaply closed it below the low here. Get you, stop everybody out, and then we had pretty much a gap and go today. That tail is not real. That is a fake print there. So it never traded down there, and you can see on the triple Qs here, or actually, NQ, we never made a new low here. We talked about this recently. One of the things that tells me that we do have a tradable low here in place. And again, before you guys come into my comments, Aaron's a perma bull. The guy who told everybody to get out on the 20th is the perma bull. No, I'm just looking for a pivot low, because I like trading and I like making money. But the thing that sets it apart here is the last 3 days, semiconductors outperformance. SMH closed green on the week, right? You guys know, you should know by now. I always talk about this. Watch the semis. If the market's selling and the semis aren't, it's probably a fake sell. If the markets are bidding and the semis are not performing, it could be a fake rally. SMH strong. NQ, QQQ showing some relative strength the last day or two. Additionally, we did, essentially sweep the low. And actually, let's use ES. We swept the low. We closed below it by a little bit. And then we rallied up this morning. Now, if we take a look at, let's just say, an hourly, we'll flip back to SPY here. This is a lot different than all these other rallies. This is straight up short covering. Just short covering. They're not fearful at all. They're just taking profit and hitting the lower high over and over and over. This one, we closed below the low and then gapped up. So anybody who went short into the low thinking that it was a breakdown is trapped in there. Bulls also getting stopped out. But look at here. What did we do here that we've never done here in the last 2 weeks? We consolidated a move, and the dip was bought on horrible news. What's the hallmark of a bull market? Going up on bad news, right? We had good news all week, and we puked out. Putin's ending the peace talks, and cooler than expected CPI, cooler than expected PPI, but not too cold, right? And we just got puked out. Terrible. I mean, terrible Michigan consumer. It was like a ridiculous miss. It was like 54 versus like 65. It was terrible. And we got a 1 candle dip and then rallied. And then we consolidated and went higher. The character's changing is what I'm trying to say. Moreover than that, internally, that's a lot of green on there. 90% up day. So is breadth thrusting? Let's ask the McClellan. Yes, it is. Let's look at the weekly. Oh, yes, it is. So that is a big significant difference from the last 2 Fridays. And if this is a low here, we can talk about retraces. I would say probably 580 is a very logical place to start. You got a 50% fib right in that vicinity, and this is clearly the level that, if this was all distribution, this is where it started, right? Right here, we gapped up. That was the last hurrah. They started selling right there. So pretty much above 580 is where they could put their line in the sand. So that's where I would expect a retrace to. Now, could they just gap this down Monday and go to 540? I mean, yeah, there's nothing saying, right? We still got to clear this 565 and get back inside of this broadening channel. But there's a lot of things here that are looking pretty good again, in addition to the internals. Let's look at volatility. I told you guys, if this stays below 25, it's going down to 1950. And pretty good slice there on the VIX. So, it's going to stop around 20, maybe gets a little dead cat at the 20 DMA there. VVIX. So VVIX has basically retraced the entire bear market move. That's not something you generally see in a bear market. This should be getting dip spot, should be getting supported even on our rallies. So volatility getting sold. That's the first time volatility has been really sold while we've had these squeezes, right? Last Friday, we had, it was red, but we stayed well within range. Same thing on the previous Friday. This one, we wiped out the whole week, last 2 weeks worth of trading. So dealers closing out, we talked about vol decay. Some of you guys didn't believe me, but, there's volatility decay here. It's going to cause an upward feedback loop. When this is going down and down and down, and market makers are forcing hedging down, they're forcing hedges even farther out of the money. Well, when we go sideways for 4 days, those puts start to lose value, and then they start to cover those shorts that were hedged. That can create a positive feedback loop, and we maybe even bottom before FOMC. A lot of volatility attached to that too. But right now, bulls bottom line still got to get above 565. Otherwise, it's just a nice day that has some really good internals behind it. If we do keep going down, I think 540 is very good. That would complete the 618 here on the April move. But we also have, we just hit a 50% right there. And if you stack this fib, and they actually do it right, you can see, there we go. We got a 618 there, as well as the 50% fibs. That's what I call stacking fibs. So we'll see. Well, do they rug pull it again on Monday? Are they going to run the same playbook 3 weeks in a row? We'll see. But that's what I would expect here. At least a retrace to the 200. But pretty much every bear market, first leg ever, is going to retrace at least 50% the first leg. So it doesn't make you a permable to call for a relief bounce, just in case anybody was wondering. But triple Qs here, got a trend line right above, and then the 200 there, and then the 500 whole round number. Lots of islands here. That's what I was going to say a minute ago. I see a lot of things are looking good. Got possible island there on the Qs. The Russell as well. The gap down here, space. Some other notables, XLF. Reclaiming the trend line by the end of the week. Again, we've got to wait for those weekly closes. So that, gaps up Monday. I mean, like anybody who went short down here is going to be underwater. IGV, same kind of look there. And a lot of things coming back, again, speaking of the weekly, SPY weekly, closing right back on the 50 moving average. So hammer on the weekly. All right. Now that we did everything out of order here. Diamonds here up 1.6. Again, I like this level on the YM. We talked about that the other day. So a good bid off of that. 42.5. And then the 200 MA right above. There. SMH obviously showing lots of strength. We talked about that ad nauseum. It broke down from about, I'll just say 235 to make it even. So that's probably going to be some resistance. And then you got a lot right here. A lot. At like 245. So, but good bounce, good move. IGV mentioned. Oh, they put the candle back. Earlier today, they disappeared some of the candles on Thinkorswim. IGV was one of them. That was interesting. Anyway, so IGV up. If we can reclaim the 200, you get a retrace here, just like everything else. Transports are still weak, but yeah, deeply oversold. So they're getting a bid off of this pivot here. And this is a sector we've avoided for a while. Rates today held up. And again, we had CPI and PPI come in cool. And consumer sentiment terrible. And rates are still going up. So again, they're rallying against weaker news. Shouldn't be going up, but they are. It tells you they're strong. 10-year still got to get through this area right here, right around 435. And then the 30s are hammering as well at 465. Through that, I like about 480 or so on the 30s, maybe 485. So for 10s, like 455, 460. We got the Fed next week too. That'll be fun. XHB, yeah, this is another one that they got rid of the can. Look at this, March 12th, March 14th. That's showing it's up 2%. That'll be all right. Yeah, that's missing yesterday's candle, but it held weekly support by the end of the week. We'll leave it at that. So I think VNQ might be missing it too. That was up 2%. Yeah, it's up saying it's up 2%, but so we're just missing data here. But trying for a higher low. XLF up 2.3. KRE again, similar kind of island look there. It might not be that easy, by the way. That we might not. When I say we have islands here, it doesn't mean we're just going to gap and go Monday. It just means if we do, it's going to leave an island. KBE back up today too, and broker dealers up 3.5. Oil having a quiet day of 63 cents. Still a lot of shorts in here though. Needs to close above 68.10 to trigger a nice little squeeze, but that's really all I'm bullish to is about 70, maybe a little bit higher. XLE on the other hand was very strong today. Very strong. Out of the gate, strong. And I've been noticing rotation into energy. Notice where this bottomed versus where the spiders and specifically the Qs bottomed. And I've been talking about this a lot in the trading room. A lot of the time this week, when the Qs were bidding, XLE would back off. XLE would bid, Qs would back off, and vice versa. You're seeing some rotation here. XOP again, bottomed early. Chart's crappy, but it bottomed way sooner. Same thing with OIH. So maybe seeing some energy get, this is right around the time of the year that it starts to try to make that summer lag too. Uranium here, kind of quiet. CCJ holding up. Not a terribly unconstructive pattern. It's all right. Weekly's kind of messy. I prefer bulls to have a higher low here. URNM is spending a lot of time down here. So dip buyers are not aggressive, at least at the moment, but there's still a lot of support. I don't think it's going through that anytime soon, unless something else changes. NJ pretty much the same chart, but it's a little bit weaker. And then Nuke's holding that the 200, the $40 handle at the 200 moving average. So that's good for some relief here too. NG, so getting a small bounce here. Still a lot of supply in that candle. This may need to work that off here. But if this just holds above 4, it could consolidate and then try to go higher. So we'll see how that does. The seasonality is all messed up on this because the market has changed quite a bit. Dollar index here down 13 basis points. Not the greatest. It's still just kind of clinging onto that 618 area. Now you got a micro little hammer here. You held that breakup bar on the weekly. I'm still favoring this back up to like 105, maybe 105.50, but that's it. Gold actually did a special report just now for members on some gold market projections. But another thing you can look at for free is the article. Well, it's on TradingView, but you can see here essentially the targets. Actually, I can probably pull it up right now. I think I have it right here. Yep. So each of these, so this is why we're looking for 30. I was looking for 30.76, but it got adjusted a little bit because of the futures market. But yeah, each of these advances, it's very simple. Just adding numbers here. 550, and pretty much every one of these bull advances has been about that. So for spot, we're looking at like 30.90. For the futures, that might be about 3,100, 3,110, just because of the contango and the contract rolls coming up soon. So I'm still looking for that to happen by early April. Silver, I think it can get to 38 by mid to late April. No changes there. Platinum and palladium, I don't really care for right now. They're just chopping around. I don't have much interest. Copper here, a little bit of a micro gap and crap, but as long as it's above 480, it's fine. This is just so strong right now. But a break back below 480 might tell us that it's not ready to go too much higher yet. Okay, so I was going to pull up Bitcoin, but that chart's not working right now. So anyways, let's just look at Bitcoin here, the futures. We talked about this. It did reclaim the 200, and I believe it's above that right now on the actual. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. So we'll see if it holds up at the end of the day, and if we can reclaim that, we'll give it the upside bias to 91.5, 92. Again, just forgive this chart here. You guys know what it looks like. Bitcoin also made a low before the market too. That was a signal we talked about. Anyway, again, markets here. Good move, good rally today, following through. Vol getting crushed, breadth thrusting hard. Semiconductor leadership, bank leadership. But we finally had a strong day internally. On a technical basis, still need to get that 565 out of the way. And really, especially closing above Monday's high would certainly do a lot. We got Fed week next week. We'll see if they pull the same playbook 3 weeks in a row. Eventually, we'll have a bounce at some point, unless you're most of the people in my comments section, or at least part of those people. Oh, there's our Bitcoin chart. So there we go. You guys get the idea. All right, guys. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to lose my voice again. It's a long week. I needed to relax this weekend. But you guys take care. Have a good one. And I'll see you guys all on Monday.